Not an expert, just talking from experience of doing shit wrong. Kind of been thinking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and now it's come crunch time. I'm kind of freaking out about it. Like, it seems pretty sketchy, but it'll be okay. That's just kind of how sometimes things have to be done in a roundabout, ass backwards way, because that's how you do it at DMAC Customs, which is just my garage, and I'm not a professional. Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs YouTube channel. Dave here. Now, if you watched the last video on the Area 51, I was pulling it all apart and stuff like that, and you may have noticed I was wearing this t-shirt. Well, I've got more than one t-shirt, but it's actually the same day. I thought I would start this video, get it underway for the trolley dolly, body dolly trolley that I'm gonna endeavour to construct for the Area 51. See? Bought this when I was in LA a few years ago. My wife didn't like it. She thinks it looked a little bit, I don't know, gangster or something. Maybe she thought I was going to start throwing signs, but I'm not really sure what that means. So I tried just throwing signs malarkey, but it didn't really seem to achieve much. Seemed a little bit stupid to me, but I don't know, apparently it's a thing. But anyway, okay, so let's get at it. We've got, I'll show you. I've got my steel arrived. Guy over the road's blatting around his driveway on his quad bike. Fair enough. But how do you see I'm like trying to make a YouTube video here? Yeah, anyway, so Buddy Neil dropped out the steel that I needed to make this dolly thing yesterday, and I've got it in my steel rack. My steel rack looks very, very similar to underneath the Area 51. This bit of tube, which hopefully my scaffolding wheels, jack things, will fit in. I actually need to try that. I've done a quick measure, but you never know. I could be wrong about that. Well, look, cats are out. Oh. Dang it. Lucky these are just aluminium, and my truck's not quite heavy aluminium, and my truck's not a shiny hot rod. But yeah. Right, so let's see if these are going to fit. Oh, just perfect, no wiggle. So, see, done. There we are. Not quite sure how that's going to make the body dolly thing work, but just kidding. I got I'm gonna cut this into 4 pieces. 1, 2, you know, four evenly sized pieces. So I got 4 of those dial-up scaffolding wheels that'll go into those, and then going to attach them to the frame so I can then wheel this thing lob around. Get the picture? Start with cutting those up, and then I'll drag those lengths of RHS out and get into it from there. Okay, so we've got this piece here, it's 930 long, so I divide that by 4 equals 232. So I just worked that out in my head. Mathematical genius. 232, 464. So I've got to make those 3 cuts. Right, let's get into that. Okay, so that's me 4 pieces to cut. Now I've got to suss out the next step, which is drag out some of those lengths and cut a couple of lengths down for the full where I want them to go from. I'll show you what I'm thinking. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got a body mount here. I'm going to attach to that one rather than, you see a lot of people attach to this for like rotisseries and shit. I'm not doing a rotisserie, so if I want a chicken, I'll buy a chicken. But so I'm going to attach to there. So I want to come from here, and I'm probably going to attach to one of these back body mounts back here in the second point, and then but I'm going to go a bit further along so I can attach maybe onto that final third body mount there, or not the final one, there's another one after that back here somewhere. Nothing's bolted on actually, the body mounts. Oh, that's got enough on it. But yeah, so I might attach onto that one there as well if I need to, but ideally I just want to kind of get it under these two, but go a bit longer so I can so it doesn't get rear heavy and want to tip over, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I've got to measure that and see if I can get a accurate measure. Not sure how I'm going to do that. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Okay, so did some measuring like this. This is in millimeters, not feet and inches, so yeah, the numbers are probably a little bit too big for me to explain to convert it into feet and inches, but it's about from there to over there, which equates to 2 meters 390, which is about 8 foot or something like that. But anyway, so what I did was I measured from where it comes through the chassis through to there, through to the next mount, and then measured from there to that mount and added them together. Then added 40 millimeters for the thickness of the material, so that's center to center. So I had to add the width of the RHS that I'm using to that. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I got it right, otherwise this is completely moot. Anyway, so I'll drag out some lengths and need 2. Hang on, how long is this? We'll measure off our 2 meters 390. So it's way down here. 2390. Get in here with the speed square and square. Look. Alright, there's one marked. Just like that. So now let's cut those. Okay guys, so here's the deal. Like now, as you probably figured out, I'm no engineer, so I'm just kind of again making some shit up as I go along. I don't know whether this is the right way to do it, but this is how I'm going to do it. So what I want to do is these two long lengths are going to have these welded on the end of them like that, see? And but cutting them off square, even though I was very proud of my square cuts, leaves this big gap, and so I don't want to do the whole stunt weld and blast through those gaps. So I'm going to cut a little, just a triangular notch out of here just to sit this in, so I can weld down and around the sides. I might even leave them up a little high, and so I can weld around the top, make them nice and strong. You see what I'm saying there? So looking at that, I'm not going to bother trying to cut a, like round like I just traced on. Sorry, just traced on there. I'm just going to cut like a little straight triangle out of each top and bottom at both ends on both lengths. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's going to be that. Am I doing this right? Then that's going to be my, about where my centre is coming through there. Yeah, that'll be right. Trust me, I have no idea what I'm doing. Right, so I might make a little template so I can mark all of these kind of the same, and then yeah, set about cutting all those notches in. Cut my card kind of square about there. It's going to be my set edge right there. So if I get that flush off the edge, get my centre, and then it's going to come up about that many, and then we'll get a, oh no, hang on, it's not going to go right to the edge, so it's going to go to about there. This pin's not working either. Go to about there. So I'll cut out my do that like that, get them kind of looking the same. Take two, there we go, like that. So I'll just hold that up against there, trace my line on, cut them all out. So into it with the half worn zip disc, and I'm just going to go cut all of these little notches out and then take it from there. I don't know what's next, maybe weld a couple of them on or something, weld them on, or do I cut the other lengths? Crossways stuff, probably the crossways stuff. Right, so that's my little notches done. So what I'll do is I'll probably bring it up maybe 10mm or so from there, so I can get a nice weld in there, down there. There's a bit of a gap there, but I'm pretty sure I can jump that gap, and I ain't afraid. So yeah, now I've got to figure out how long I need to make my pieces to go across the other two to go here. I've got to figure out now how long I want my frame to be. Now I've got to run it down the outside here, because Yes, I do. I have to run it down wider than the wheel track, so because I want to be able to roll it over the top of that when it's got wheels on, so it needs to be at least out here, and it's going to be down here anyway. So is that right? Yeah, it's going to be below the sill line, so but I want it wider than the rear axle with wheels and tires on, so I can roll the whole body over the top of the whole thing. Oh, darn. Okay, so I want it. Let me think about this. Alright, so I need to have it wider than the wheel track of the 51, so the whole lot can roll over the top, the body and the dolly can roll over the top of the chassis with wheels and tires on, and widthways. So I need to allow for the width of the wheels and tires and the width of the casters on the scaffolding jack wheels things. It's going to take a bit of sciencing actually, so I have to do some measuring. Okay, so these things here, their widest are 120, they're 120 by 100, so the widest that can get is 120. And say from the hub face on the wheel, probably about sort of 80-90 mil. So that's the hub face there, so we've got 80-90 there. So and then one half of 120 is, so I'll go to say 100 mil for the tyre clearance, and then another 60 for that doodad, the other wheel thing. And then, so if we make it a clean 200 mil past the hub face, we should be heaps. So I've got to measure it from hub to hub, face to face, and then add 400 onto that to get my width for the back. Yeah? Okay, let's do that. Hey guys, well, next day, had some family come around for a bit of a chin wag yesterday, so I stopped where I stopped just after doing these little bevel things. But then I came down last night and I spent like an ungodly amount of time trying to calculate how wide to make the widest crossway bar on this sort of thing, and all of this was to avoid putting the wheels on and measuring it properly. So I decided to put the wheels on and measure it properly, and so I've got to make my crossbars 1950 millimeters, so 1.95 meters, or however many inches that works out to be in imperial speak. I've got no idea. Probably about 70 something, I think, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I've just got to cut those, and then we can kind of start piecing this thing together. Measured these lengths that I got, and they're an even 4 meters long, so I decided to just make my cross braces 2 meters. That'll do us, I reckon. So I'll need 2 of those. I'm going to need 3 altogether though, I think. that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you straighten some RHS that arrives bent. I need to go and I'm going to lie down for a little bit. Okay, that's my third piece cut. I should add that I didn't buy this steel. A buddy of mine had it with some steel pallet that some stainless sheet arrived on at his work, so he kindly donated it to the cause. And cheers, Neil. And so that's my third piece cut. And humidity is getting up there. It's not even that warm. Last Monday it was like sub-zero temperatures out here at night, and you know, this week it's quite different so far. That's about all I wanted to get done tonight, so maybe back at it tomorrow, possibly. Next step. What is the next step? Start tacking it all together. Well, it's tacking 3 sides together, and then I'll that's where I might get us. Oh, that'll do for now anyway. See you tomorrow, maybe. Hey guys, welcome back. Well, welcome me back, because you guys didn't go anywhere and I went to work and stuff. But it's the next day, and so got all my lengths cut, got all my tube cut. Just got to start tacking some stuff together now, and yeah. But before I can do that, I've got to clean up some steel to be able to weld some nice-ish welds to that said steel. Okay, so let's get on to that. Alright, so step 1, I'm going to weld these onto there. I've already sort of marked a point there, so just magnet that into place, and magnet should get it relatively square on its own, but I'll tack it and check this square with a square, speed square maybe, when we get that far. So yeah, tack these up. Alrighty, so that's them all tacked on there like that. I reckon I might just weld them home now, I reckon. It's only steel. Worst case scenario, I'll have to cut them off if I've got them in the wrong place. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Now what? Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll weld them up. Actually, I'll check a couple of measurements first, and then I'll weld them up. 3430 centers. I don't know, I can't remember what my measurements were. I'll probably remember it when I edit this video. But I'm just going to weld them up anyway, because my crossbars, yeah, that's not the important measurement, what I was just measuring, it's actually this one here. So, let's try that again. 2390, 2390, 2350, yes, on the money. Right, weld these up. We've got some gaps to jump. Stunt welding, as I like to call it. A little bit too much juice, I think. That's better. One down, 4 to go. Last one, got a bit of a gap to jump here. I reckon I can do it. Evil can jump the Grand Canyon, the Snake River, or whatever it was. I can jump that gap with 0.6mm wire. Just watch. Now I'm going to cock it up. Ooh, she's getting warm. Check it out. Gap jump. Probably a little bit slow. This weld's a little bit proud, but it's alright. Alright, put it to the other side. Got a bit of a gap jump there too. So. Hey. Do it. All done. That seam all welded up. Yeah. So next. I'm wondering whether to put a gusset in there or not, of some sort, just some sort of triangulation, just to give it a bit more triangulation. Probably should, really. There's a lot of weight's going to be on that, and this isn't terribly thick. It's only 2mm or 2.5mm. This RHS, whereas the down tube's 3. So might see what I've got and maybe triangulate them just a tad, just for safety, just good measure really. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so found these in the scrap drawer, and they are just scrap. They're some 5mm plates. I think they were from the engine mounts that I bought for Area 51, and I chopped them up and I did other stuff with that. If you don't think I was doing videos when I did that, but anyway, I'm going to slice these diagonally, and then I'll have 4 triangles for my triangulation. So I'll tune yours back in once they're all cut and take it from there. Okay, so got these cut. Now I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but see there's a hole there. Hey? And that's because these mounts that were on there were kind of slotted into these holes, and then had this really weak TIG weld going around them, and so I decided it wasn't going to really cut it for engine mounts, so that's why I ended up remaking the engine mounts that I bought, and these were leftovers. But one of my slots ends up kind of with a gap in it, so I'm just going to bridge that up with some weld just to put the triangulation back into it. This is my thinking. Now, pay attention. This could be where it goes incredibly wrong. Get over there. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, come see, is triangulating it like that, right? See? Now, ordinarily you might think put it in the middle like that, and ordinarily if this material was the same thickness as this I probably would, but this is quite thin, so I'm thinking of actually just putting the brace, the bracket, the triangulation out to the edge where it's going to hit stronger material. Yeah, hopefully that is a better way than if I did it that way. For, you know, if that decides it wants to go that way, if it was in there, that it could dent this section of steel here. So if it's there, it's got to get through all of that, not just like a flat plane like that. Get my drift? But I'm not going to weld these all the way. I'll just put a couple of stitches on each of them. They're just kind of insurance. I've got a bit of faith in, I've got some faith in my choice of materials and my geometry and mathematics and stuff, but I feel like it just needs a little bit of insurance, and that's my plan for these gussets. Right, so I'll get those all stitched in place and then go on to the next bit. Okay, tech tip: if you're recycling old powder coated or Chinesium painted bits of steel, and you clean off, get some clean steel, do the edges as well. I forgot to do it on the first one, and therefore my welding kind of fought me a little bit because it was picking up all of this black paint that's on here, or powder coat, whatever it is, and just did some weird shit. Fixed it in the end with more weld, which is not the right way to do it. Should have ground it out and re-welded it, just so you know. Not an expert, just talking from experience of doing shit wrong. So get onto this and then I'll show you where we're at. Just gonna eyeball it on these. Tech tip number 2, try not to inhale the Chinesium paint. Not sure what it is, but it's probably really not good for human consumption. So hold your breath. Picked up a little bit of the paint in the weld on that last one there. As you can see, it started doing some sputtery spattery stuff, and yeah, probably not the best, not the greatest for your lungs and stuff. I wonder if I should whack a couple on the side just for good measure, now that I haven't prepped up that steel at all. Should be alright. I've got faith in these welds and half faith in the other ones. Might just zip down that whole edge just for good measure. Oh, she'll either hold or she won't, so we'll, that'll do it, that one. Make sure it happens with this side. Yep. Right, get this out of the way. Find somewhere to put it so it can cool down. And, whew, it's smoky in here. That'll do. Alright. Okay, so that's them all welded up. Had to open up the fire exit because it's just getting a little bit smoky in here, and that Chinesium paint, as I said, probably not the best to be inhaling at high temperatures. So that's where I'll leave that for tonight. Can't be doing too much more cutting and grinding and stuff in suburbia. Got to think about the neighbours and that, especially when it's dark and, you know, they got little kids and shit like that. So yeah, just call me considerate. But yeah, so that's me gussets in, one in each corner, on top, and on for each side. Put a little blob weld in there just to kind of tie that together, just to make sure it doesn't kink out and bow out, stuff like that. Should be alright, maybe. And yeah, okay, so till tomorrow, be back. Okay, so back again. It's a few days later, not the next day like I formerly predicted. Well, yeah, thought I'd come down after work and do some stuff, but I just couldn't be bothered after work. So back on, yeah, what am I doing next? Welded up the outriggers. Now we've got to attach the inner riggers going across, but before I do that, I've got to make some little uprights that come off the little inner riggers that I can then bolt through the floor into these little outriggers, which will then be like these little tower things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm going to make some more stuff that can bolt to other stuff, and then we can weld all the stuff together when the body comes off, and then we can do other stuff. Before I can do that, I've got to figure out how big these other little doodads that I've got to make are, and weld something to them that I can drill and tap and whack a bolt through them. That's the plan anyway. So, I'll figure that out. Alright, so this is one of the points that I need a little tower thing for the outrigger to bolt onto. Now, I want to kind of keep a lot of stuff kind of clear of the inner sills and the floor so I can kind of work on it. These floor braces are new-ish, well, however many years ago the previous owner put them in, but they're obviously in pretty good shape, so I don't have to do much work to the front here. So it's going to be one of my fixing points to my body dolly trolley thing. So what I'm thinking is I want a little bit of kind of clearance, so I'm just going to use this level as a bit of a guide, and I'm going to go to about where the bottom of the level is. So that's where my dolly's going to sit, so the body will sit the width of this level, whoever that is, 55 millimeters off the top of the trolley sort of thing. I did think about sitting it on the actual sill as well, but I don't want to have the bits of steel kind of running through here, because it kind of defeats the purpose of, get in there and work on it properly. So I need a bit of clearance, so I need two of them at 140. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So two at about 140 for the front. Now I've got to figure out what I need to do in the back. So I've got to figure out what to do on the next one, which is up under here somewhere. I'll figure that out. I'm better going to write this down, otherwise I'll forget. Here's my cut list: 2 at 140, 2 at 180, and 2 at 300. And the 300 ones are the ones that are going to be bolted in at inside the boot there. But I don't know the exact measurement on those because there's chassis in the way and shit like that. So I've got to make some sort of slightly over length ones until I can get this thing up off the chassis, and then I can fit those ones up proper. Yeah, so we'll do that. 140, 280, and we want 2 at 180, 180, 180, and then 2 at 300. Okay. I might make them a little bit longer just to be on the safe side, so I'll go 330, 660. Yeah, there's a band in there called 660, and I don't really know much about them, but I just thought I'd tell you that. Anyway, speed square these. C, A. How's that for organised? Labelling and everything. C, B, B, A. Alrighty, so that's them all marked and ready to cut. So I'll get those cut. Do I want to do that first? Yeah, I'll get that cut. Okay, so I've cut all my A, B and C towers. So they'll go, might need to do some straightening, but essentially they'll just go like on the crossbar. I'll just do something like that. And then the body will be bolted onto that like that, see? But I need something to bolt to. With that being said, so what I'm going to do is just kind of cut this 5mm flat bar, or 5mm strap as often referred to. Just cut them a little bit oversized, so I can just kind of run a weld on the underside, drill like about that much overhang. Give them a few stitches around there, and then drill a hole through the centre and tap it. Need 6 of these. I've already marked them. Going to make them 70 by whatever this is, 50 or whatever. So that'll give me my kind of top plate that I'm going to bolt to. Get the old speed square in there and just like that. I don't know how square this really is though. Gets a bit of a wiggle on in different ways. See, it looks like it's got a bit of a side curve in it, so where does it say on there? Well, it doesn't say on there, made in China, but it probably is. But while I'm at it, before I cut all these, I'll mark my centre for where I'm going to drill and tap for a body mount bolt to go through. So approximately. Right, so that's going to be the holes that I'll drill. Right, set about cutting all those and drilling a bunch of holes. This is the bit that takes ages. All this preparation, thinking and stuff, and trip hazards and things like that. Oh. Punch. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, got 6. Sweet. Right. Alright, just drilling the pilot holes for those mounting bolt holes for now. I just had a thought while I was drilling it. I'm not sure if I've got a tap. I found a whole bunch of bolts which are 10mm metric coarse thread, so they're 1.5mm thread or something. So I've just got to check to see whether I've got a tap that I can even use these bolts on. So I'll do that before I go any further. Yes, I have. Wasn't in my tap and die kit, but it was in my little drawer of strays. So that's good. I can do what I was planning on doing and using the bolts that I was planning on using. So next step. 2 of these are going to be on a funny angle, so I won't drill them any further. I'll just cut them out, but I can drill out 4 of them to the right size at this point. So just going to ground up the edges, took the pointy bits off and took off some of the mill scale. Now apparently there's a bit of an ongoing argument as to whether you need to take the mill scale off when you got new steel. I watched some video and they did a kind of side by side kind of YouTube comparison, and they reckon it's better. So, and I reckon it is too, but I'm no expert. So just as good practice, even though these aren't like super important like structural parts of a vehicle, they're just a dolly thing. Still probably good practice to kind of get in the habit of, I guess. So none of my holes are in the center though, so maybe I need more practice at getting things accurate. Right, clean up some more steel for welding to, I reckon, on these doodads. Maybe try and square them up a little bit too. Okay, so if you didn't figure out what I was rambling on about, what my plan is, these are going to go on there like so, like but squarish, and I'll just run a little bit of a weld around each 4 side, not fully welded. They don't need to be. They just need to hold. So they need a reasonably good weld, I guess. Hey, yeah. And then these will go on the cross riggers that are going to go through on the body dolly trolley. So start tacking all those up and welding them up. Okay, there's one. So that's what I've been talking about, like making those like that, relatively straightish. Right, 1 down, 3 to go. Alright, so that's 4 done. So that's all the 4 of those done. So I figure out what my next step is. All welded together quite nicely. A couple of bits that I kind of boogered up a little bit, but on the whole, still quite hot. But yeah, not too bad. But a little, I can't remember what you call it when it's like on a 90, a fillet weld or something like that. But yeah, they worked out alright. Hopefully they're straight enough. They're they're a little bit crooked still, not true 100% square, but it shouldn't matter too much really. Maybe this will probably come back and haunt me later on, but we'll see. We'll see. Here we go. So next step, don't know. Gotta wait for them to cool down a little bit, and then just about getting ready to start messing with jacks and trolley jacks and blocks of wood and axle stands and stuff like that, and a bit of a balancing act and get this body up high enough that I can slide these crossbars and that in and start making this shit work, hopefully. Right, let's see. Okay, captain's log. Ground up some areas ready for welding these supports and that on. Just trying to puzzle out now how I'm actually going to do this. I've kind of been thinking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and now it's come crunch time. I'm kind of freaking out about it. Like, it seems pretty sketchy, but worst case scenario is that it fucking drops off a jack or something like that, and does some sheet metal damage, falling onto axle stands and things like that. As long as I stay out from underneath it as much as possible. Next step, got to figure out, I need to get the whole thing up slightly higher, which I think I can do with a variety of blocks of wood, axle stands and a trolley jack. Time will tell, I guess, eh? So let's see how this is going to pan out. Actually, I've got to make sure a couple of the holes are clearanced enough to get the bolts through before I go any further. Okay, so got some Jenga stuff set up there for where I'm going to put some axle stands on there. Next step, I think, is to slowly jack up the front, the whole thing, chassis included, and see if I can get it high enough from there. Yeah? Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so that's stage one of make it up as you go along, move the body off the chassis. You're on the Area 51 project. Kind of got the body half sitting on those stands there, the chassis sitting on those and still on the back. The back of the body's kind of still sitting on the chassis. So the next step is, all going well, I can jack the body up off the chassis, put it on stands, and then lower the whole lot down, or the chassis down, but keep the body up in the air. So see if I can do that. This is where we're at. I'm pretty sure at this point the step notch is hung up on the sheet metal that kind of surrounds the upper part of the step notch up in there. So I need to drop the front of the chassis down now to kind of get that to let go, but I'm a bit concerned that if I jack the front up now, with the way it's sitting, it will let go suddenly and this back half of the chassis will just drop quite dramatically, so might have to jack this up again at the back, kind of take up the suspension slack, and hopefully not lift the chassis, and maybe get the other little jack on the front, which I don't really like doing because those little jacks are a bit, I don't know, sketchy. Unless I drop this down, put the little jack under here, then I get stuck with the little jack under there. But anyway, thinking out loud, let me puzzle this out and then take it from there. Okay, so it wasn't hanging up on the C-notch thing, it was hanging up on my drive shaft loop, my safety loop. You can see up there, that's bolted to the body. The drive shaft's kind of like wedged on it, so I need to jack this whole back end up again so I can take that half loop off. At least I know it's strong. So I'll just take this loop off, and then I should be able to lower it back down. So this drive shaft loop was basically hanging stuff up pretty severely. I was going to take it off the other day, but I forgot. And then obviously never did it. So now there's nothing else. I did the brake, the handbrake. There should be nothing else connecting the body to the chassis. Should be, famous last words. Okay, so let's try this again. So back to where we were before. Let's try this again. Axle stand's taking the weight of the body. Oh, slow down, slow down, slow down. Bloody helicopters. Go and have a bit of a look. Slow down. What's going on? Okay, that went a little bit faster than I was expecting, and just about got my hands jammed underneath here. So, okay, now the jack's stuck under here, so I need to get that back around the front somehow. Maybe I'll use the little jack, double jack. Oh, that's a pain. Maybe I'll just pull the handle out. Or is this taking weight? I don't know. Oh, there we go. Just push it forward. Done. Okay, so she's pretty tight down here. And just have to screw that in a little bit to get it to drop down, but shit. Okay, once again, drop that down a little faster than I was expecting. Ooh. Okay. Don't know what kind of made all that racket, but at this point I have the body off the chassis, kind of balanced precariously on 4 axle stands, so hopefully that's all good. I don't know whether this bit of the chassis hit my Jenga tower, like it might have. Yeah, don't try this at home, folks. Like, this is kind of what I'd kind of consider sketchy. Yeah, so And it's still not right down on the gearing. Jack's stuck under the front, but that's alright. I'll chuck something under there and get that out. Haven't punched a hole through the floor. Not quite, maybe. It seems to be all clear. Body's still not high enough though to build my bloody thing underneath it, so we'll have to, still gonna have to jack the body up a bit higher somehow, support it, and figure out what to do next. But yeah, that's where we're at. I don't know what that racket was with it coming down that quick. Might have been no, it wasn't the shifter on the tunnel. Oh, that bloody body mount raking past things, I think. Well, it didn't snap the plugs, so I have to check out the other side now. Where else? What else can I check? Ah, yeah. Damn. Okay. So, and this, is that wedged? I think that's wedged on there. Damn it. Yeah. Uh-oh. Okay, while I figure out what to do with this, I don't know what I'm going to do. Slowly jack it up and see if we can kind of roll the chassis forward and clear those rocker covers, or jack it up enough that it's Am I making a mistake doing this or what? Scary. Starting to get a bit of a sweat on now, and an anxiety sweat, I think. So, I'll I don't know, bring it up, maybe try to roll the chassis forward slightly just to get it off those rocker covers. But I'll check back in a minute. Okay, so trimmed those body mounts. That one, albeit a bit crooked, that one there got a bit more clearance because it's crooked in the other direction, but hopefully that's enough to be able to get those rocker covers to drop past. Now, could have taken the rocker covers off, but I didn't want to. I've got to do some work down on those body mounts anyway, hence the reason why I'm not really wanting to mount my frame, whatever jig that I'm going to be building right now, anywhere near that stuff, because I need to you know what I'm saying? I need to get to those so I can work on them, so I don't want anything bolted to them at this point. Yeah, so try again without dropping the whole thing. Oh, okay. So that came down a lot faster than I was expecting. And yeah, that's right. I forgot to get stuff on there. How did I do this last time? Don't judge me, I'm going to jack it up off this sway bar. Probably get it stuck under. Oh no, should be alright. I know this isn't the best jacking point, but just a little. Gently, gently. That's like that. Oh. Okay, so that's the body off the chassis and fully balanced precariously on blocks of wood and axle stands and a Jenga tower on each side. So now I need to see if it's high enough to do the frame thing that I've got to figure out how to do. So on to that. I just noticed my little protective like screen thing on the old GoPro had a big sort of cracking right in the middle of it, so there's probably a big fuzzy thing for God knows how long through some of the previous footage, maybe today. Don't know when I did that. Back, had some lunch, a bit full now. So next plan is I'm going to bolt these up underneath where it's going to mount onto that middle crossbar and tack those in place, pull it out, weld those on, and then see if I can jack the back up high enough to get it in place, maybe somehow. I actually really don't know what I'm going to do. Still got to jack the front up higher to be able to get the front crossbar through. Down here it's got to go considerably higher, probably about another 4 or 5 inches, and I can't get a jack in a central point underneath because the motor and the transmission and everything's in the way. If I had my engine crane I could probably do it, but that's out on loan. Probably should have got that back before I started this endeavour, but never mind, I'll figure out a way. So yeah, start with I'm going to bolt these things up underneath and yeah, tack them in place and do all that stuff. Like that. And then come down under here. Move this out of the way. Is this going to work? Probably not. I might have to go and brace that up underneath, or put something, spanner or something on there, see if I can get that to not spin. I don't know what size it is. Yeah, no, that's going to fall off. Maybe one of these little suckers. Yes, look at that. That'll be perfect. I'm not going to do it super tight. I'm just going to about there, I reckon. Doesn't need to be super tight at this point, but that'll do us. Right, I'll go and do the other side. Okay, so just centering up. There's this, we've got 370 on that side. 370 on that side, almost. So right about there is where I need to tack those on, then I'll pull that back out and weld it up. At the moment I've just got the whole body balanced on another little Jenga system over there. Not ideal, but it's kind of working. I just can't bump anything, otherwise it'll be a real Jenga thing. Alright, so those kind of tacked in place. What a mess. Probably just have a bit of a tidy up and then weld these on. Okay, so got my first cross brace welded up and bolted in, and a couple more rounds of Jenga to get it sitting on the stands here rather than at the back there. But you can see the you can see all those blocks of wood on the jack there. It's getting, I'm running out of blocks of wood, to be fair, and I need about another, basically another 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 75 mil, 60 mil, something like that, to get the back to the height it needs to be for the lowest point on these scaffold jacks. So then I've got the dilemma of how do I do the front, which I'm thinking I might end up kind of like jack one side, one click on the jack, run the jack round the corner, jack up one side, one click, and just go back and forth and back and forth from that, which is going to take some time. So, but I've still got the issue of trying to get the back part up. Did I jack it off that bar? Nah, still got the issue of trying to get the back up far enough that I can do what's got to be done. This is a mission, tell you. Kind of got it on this kind of seesaw type thing at the back here at the moment, and going to endeavour to try and get my cross brace into the front here, because she's pretty unstable at the moment, kind of very easy to lift off the front, and it just wants to tip back. So I'm just going to put something behind it, just so it can only go so far in case it does kind of want to tip up. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet, but maybe something like this, a bit more Jenga-y sort of stuff, just so it can only go so far. Maybe will that stop it? Probably not, but hey, at least I tried. Right, so I'm gonna bolt in my little uprights for there, try and see if I can get my cross member across under there, and tack that up, do what I did with the back one, and then I can basically start getting ready to kind of weld them on to the other bits. Okay, after another exciting round of Jenga and moving all my stands and carefully balancing things, pretty much at the point to get this cross member now tacked in place. So I've just got to measure it side to side, get it all square, then I can burn these side rigger things on. Slight flaw in my plan, I might not be able to put the third one across the back, which might not be a problem as long as this doesn't start bending and stuff like that, or the whole back of the car starts bending. Shouldn't do. See people put full bodies on little narrow dollies all the time. Hopefully there shouldn't be a lot of weight in behind that thing. I don't know, I'm just trying to convince myself more than anything. But anyway, I'll measure these side to side, weld those in. Okay, so that's that cross brace. Don't look at that weld too closely, it kind of got away on me. That's that cross brace kind of welded on. Kinda, when I say kinda, most of it's welded on okay, but there's just a couple of them that didn't kind of really pan out that well. Next up, weld these outriggers on and see if I can put some weight on it, hopefully. Okay, so getting quite warm, so I thought I'd better do some rehydrating. Still wearing my hoodie in that because, I don't know, just keeps sparks down. But man, I'm getting some splinters from all the die grinding shavings and that I've left all over the floor. I should really have vacuumed before I did this, but as soon as I get this thing out of here, I'm gonna pull this garage carpet up so at least sweet, proper, like, you know. But anyway, check it out. So that's where that's gonna go, like that. See? Now, just gotta weld those on, both sides. Just give it a little wee tacky tack there, I think. Is that about the right place? Close enough. Alright. think it's right. Probably just weld at home now. It doesn't have to be super square, it just has to hold weight. So get into it, I guess. We got the little weld set it. Juice it up just a tad, see what happens. Upside down welding, not the prettiest. Right, burn up in the other end and then move around the other side. Got a little flex on her, but she seems to hold her own weight, I think. I haven't actually checked whether I've taken it down there on the other side yet. I think I did. Yeah, she's body's fully supported on this frame contraption that I've made. Yeah. there it is. So I was going to have another bar running through here, but I completely didn't think about the whole wheel situation when I was kind of planning that. So because, you know, I've got to do some work up in here, so I need access up in the wheel arches. So I might see if she's going to be all right without you know what I'm saying, without the extra support on the back here. If I feel I need to have that extra support on the back here, I might do a leg up and then across to try and catch that mount. There is the one I'm after. There's one right here, so I could do a dropper, come along and down, straight down onto there if I felt that it was necessary. That way I could, you know, clear the wheel. Yeah, I sound really kind of sure of myself, eh? But yeah, so that's the jam. Now what I can do is kind of jack all of these up to raise it up higher, so this bar can clear the wheel and I can roll the body out past it. The thing I didn't really think about was the roof height and the door height, jacking it up high enough for everything to clear on the way out. It should be alright, but the higher this gets, the kind of more wiggly wobbly that it's gonna get, and the more freaky me out it's gonna get. So until I get comfortable with it, and then yeah, it should be alright. I think that's it. I think that's all right for now. I have a bit of a clean up and I'll think about it while I'm doing that. Okay, so I'm going to chuck a couple of little triangulating braces up the front here, just so it doesn't want to tip sideways on that. Can't really do it down the back there at this point. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Yeah, I still kind of want to put that other third cross beam through, but where I was going to bolt it to, I need to do a bit of work under there before I can bolt anything to it. I suppose I could put a bar across there. Hey, I could put the bar across there and then bolt the other stuff up to it later. Then it kind of defeats the purpose. I might as well put the bar on later. But anyway, I'll do some triangulation while I think about that other stuff. They'll hold. Got my little triangulated braces and that in there, and check it out. Big body lift. So this has been my goal all along. This one here is a little bit bent. Can't remember whether that was sort of bent before I started or not, but seems to be alright. There's a wee bit of wiggly in there, but there's a bit of flex in the old RHS and a bit of flex in the whole wheel system. They seem to move around a bit all on their own. But that's alright. That should be all good. That's about the kind of maximum height, almost the maximum height. It's got to come up maybe about another 50 millimeters just for the bars to clear the wheel, so I can then roll the whole body outside, and I'm pretty sure we'll clear the roof, hopefully. So it's pretty high. I still feel like a real weirdo when I'm filming in here and talking to myself, and my neighbours walk past and I'll kind of go awkward and then kind of like slink away into the other side of the garage. But yeah. I just measured my door, it's 2 meters 100, and as this thing is sitting at the moment, hang on, we are probably about around about 2 meters and maybe 60. So we are only got about 40 millimeters of clearance at the highest point. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. We may have to kind of like wind up the back to get that to clear the wheels, and then roll the chassis as far forward as we can so we can wind up the front to clear the back wheels about here, and then go back, wind it down a little bit to clear the door. It'll be a bit of a song and dance, but it'll be okay. That's just kind of how sometimes things have to be done in the roundabout ass backwards way, because that's how you do it at DMAC Customs, which is just my garage, and I'm not a professional, so don't judge too much. Of course, once the frame's cut, the frame will drop down. The wheels won't get any smaller though, will they? No, the frame will drop down, so that doesn't make any difference. So just disregard that last statement about the frame coming down. Well, the motor will come down a little bit, but I don't think I'll be winding it up high enough to take it right over the top of the motor. In there, it's like, yeah, so that's like about 700, so that would make about 900. So no, we won't be, I doubt we'll be trying to get it up over the top of the motor. We'll just always take it off from the back end, I think, roll it over the back. That's the plan, maybe. So we could even put the whole body along this back wall if I wanted to, now that it's all kind of off the chassis. We'll put it over there, work on the chassis if we get rid of that stuff. So this is the problem. I could put the body over there sideways and work on the chassis over here, but I've still got to hide a whole bunch of junk that has to go somewhere. Yeah, so I don't know, but this is the plan. We might do that yet, who knows. So now I can wind it up, roll the body outside, work on the chassis, roll the chassis outside, work on the body. But to be able to roll the chassis outside, I have to take the body out first and then the chassis out, and then bring the body back in. So that's kind of my plan, is to roll it outside, both pieces outside, and then turn them around 180 and then bring them back into the garage. But I'm going to get rid of this wooden shit on the floor, and I'm going to cut this carpet up and get it out of the way, and I'll just have to work on old dried up glue and stuff like that instead. Yeah. Well guys, gonna leave it at that for this video. Achieved what I wanted to achieve, which was to lift the body off the chassis and put it on this body dolly frame fangled thing. So that's how one moron with half a brain can lift the body off a chassis with jacks, Jenga, a welder, and axle stands, and splinters in the thumbs, and some, what are they called, scaffolding wheels, adjustable wheels. So worked out quite well. I imagine rolling this thing around is going to be like rolling a bloody supermarket trolley around. It's going to want to wander around all over the place, but still it just takes a little bit of finagling and that, but it's all good. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, get onto that, because there's going to be some stuff happening now, boy, I tell you. Well, it's going to be lots of kind of removing flaky rust and crap like that, but some stuff happening, yeah. Anyway, still got to do a bunch of that, got to do a bunch of work on the chassis still, obviously, and yeah, so till next time, take it easy and peace. Yeah, you think we should do away with all the air ride, laying it low type thing, and do a 4x4 chassis swap and have the chopped sled mini monster truck thing happening, yeah? I think it'd be quite cool. Need a bigger garage still, but yeah, that'd be an awesome ride height.